Some politicians and advocacy groups in our area are pushing for an increase in the minimum wage, saying that workers deserve more money. Others are saying that it could cost the very people they want to help their jobs and put a burden on small and medium businesses. Joining me now is Laura Huizar, who is with the National Employment Law Project. Laura, welcome to Chasing News. How are you?
Good, fine, thanks. Thank you so much for having me today.
You are in favor of raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. There have been several studies out, several different major universities talking about the loss of employment at the low level of wage earners, the cutting back of hours, the fact that restaurants in the Bay Area, Seattle, have closed over this, and then automation. How do you push back against all of that opposition? Where do you stand?
Well, I think that we often point to about 20 years of economic data where we can see study after study after study of peer-reviewed journal articles basically finding that you can raise the minimum wage without harming employment. We've seen it happen successfully for years. We now have 3 states that are going to 15. We haven't seen noticeable decreases in employment or bad effects on employee incomes. And so we think that the research shows you can do it, and it will benefit workers, it will benefit small businesses and other industries that need more consumer spending.
Why not just raise it to $40 an hour? Because it's very hard to live in New York and New Jersey on $15 anyway.
That's true. Even 15 will barely allow more workers in New Jersey to get by, but it's an important step forward. And the minimum wages is one part of addressing stagnating wages and poverty in the state.
All right, Laura. Thanks for joining me tonight. Appreciate the conversation.
Thanks so much.
You bet.
I appreciate it.
All right, let's bring in our A-plus panel for tonight's show. Republican strategist Jeanette Hoffman back with us, and Democratic strategist Bill Caruso. Bill, I'm going to start with you. This has been the mantra of your party for a long time. Governor Murphy got elected on it. I fully expect it will be implemented in New Jersey, New York, across the board. You heard our guest. I mean, she's an attorney, and it seems like they're ignoring the job loss and just putting it to that old adage of, hey, you raise people's wages, you throw that money into the economy.
And it's an argument, but there's also another argument that I agree with her at the end of her comments, that this is a component to addressing the wage gap. And I think there's few people out there that would argue we have a significant wage gap that's occurring in our country that's continuing to get bigger and bigger.
I might argue with you.
We can always argue that. I didn't doubt that, Bill. My concern over the $15 minimum wage, and I agree with the $15 minimum wage, but it's not going to address that larger issue. It's sort of biting off tiny little bites. You said it. Well, why aren't we going for 40? I'm not a proponent of that, by the way.
Well, but that's the logical conclusion to this, because you can't live on $15 an hour.
And here's the thing. You increased the minimum wage by 79%, which is what $15 an hour will be in New Jersey, and you are going to hurt the very workers that you're intending to help. Those people won't have as many hours. They won't have as many jobs. They won't have as many benefits. They won't have the opportunities simply because small businesses, Bill, they can't afford it.
This wage gap issue is a real issue. This is an attempt to address it. I'm not sure it's the right one, but with lack of another option, people are not making livable wages right now, and this is one attempt to address it.
But stifling small business is not the answer.
As Ronald Reagan said, that rising tide lifts all boats, but you've got to get that tide going. It affects everybody. And yes, the rich may get richer, but if the poor get richer too, it's a positive. All right, we'll leave it there.